Hello and welcome into the Saturday morning huddle, week number 5. Kenny Roda alongside John Bozeka. We're going to take you on a trip from what happened Friday night in week 5 in Stark County of high school football. We had some huge head-to-head matchups, rivalry games, surprise games, and we're going to break it all down in the next 60, 90, 120 minutes, however long it takes, John Bozeka. We're here for everybody every Saturday morning.
We are indeed, and quite a week 5 last night. Obviously, the game of the night featured Massillon against St. Ed's, a game that you guys had on the Freshmark Sugardale game of the week. And I know that we'll hear from Nate Moore here in just a bit, the head coach of the Massillon Tigers, but just one of a couple of huge matchups last night. Hoover and Louisville linked up. We'll talk about that. That was our Friends and Family Credit Union stream game. And then, of course, our Altman Health System Alt Care YouTube game was a good one in Pac-7 play between Canton South and Northwest. Just a big week. Some teams kicked off some league play. Some teams had that last little taste of non-conference play. So it was just a really good week of high school football, and glad we're able to bring you the Saturday morning huddle to break it down for you.
And we want to thank our sponsors who allow us to do this each and every Saturday morning. AkronAutoAuction.com, Marianne Donuts, Community One Credit Union, DeHoff Realtor, Ty Colucci, Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration, and, of course, Old Carolina Barbecue, because we hand out the Old Carolina Barbecue Player of the Game for every game we do. And then on the Saturday morning huddle, we announce our Community One Credit Union Player of the Week, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. The scores, we're going to be showing you those scores from week number 5 right there on the bottom of the screen, so you can check how your team did, and we'll break those games down a little bit later on, John. But the game of the night was number 1, St. Ed's, according to the USA Today Ohio Top 25 poll, taking on number 17, Massillon. Well, those rankings are going to change after what happened last night at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, as Massillon gives up a touchdown on the very first play from scrimmage. They're down 7-0, and then they dominated the football game from that point forward. They beat St. Ed's for the 4th consecutive year. The final was 21-14. And John, let's bring in right now, right out of the gate, the outstanding head coach in his 11th season of the Massillon Tigers, Nate Moore, joining us here on the Saturday morning huddle. Nate, thanks for making time for us. How are you today?
Good to be here. Thanks, guys.
Hey, an impressive win last night, Nate. You get behind early, and then your kids didn't blink, and they responded. What was the key there to, coming back from that 7-0 deficit right out of the gate?
Just belief in yourself. Our kids just kept fighting. They didn't flinch when that happened. They just got over to the tent and wanted to figure out how do we fix it. And so we got back out there and kept swinging.
And this is the play we're talking about. Brandon White goes 66 yards and puts St. Ed's up 7-0. But then your offense responds, Nate. And we're going to get into your new offensive coordinator, because I thought he called a masterful game last night. But Xavier Owens gets you back to even at 7-7 on this play. How important was it quickly to come back, though, even that thing up and get this thing back to, basically 0-0 and then take over from there?
Yeah, to respond offensively in that situation was huge. Absolutely.
And this is another touchdown run from Xavier Owens, 45 yards down the right sideline, puts you guys up 14-7. And then we're going to see this touchdown right here, right before half. You and I talked about this twice last night, Nate. It's so good, we got to talk about it again. This caps off a 10-play, 93-yard drive in just over 3 minutes right before halftime. The touchdown catch right there. Have you had a more impressive drive against who you were playing in a key situation like that in your 11 years? I'm guessing you have, but where does this one rank then, I guess?
I mean, it's way up there. Evan Berbera, our offensive coordinator, did a great job along with our whole offensive staff. And, we started off, backed up, and I think there was about 3 minutes on the clock when we got possession of the football. And so we were really kind of thinking, we need to pick up a couple first downs here and take some time off the clock because the odds of scoring and sustaining a drive like that are very minimal. But we had a really big call on 2nd and 6 or something like that when we were backed up, and we were in our heavy package, and threw a slant to Giorgio Jackson, singled up on the outside to get us that first down. So it didn't take us long to switch from kind of a 4-minute offense viewpoint to a 2-minute offensive viewpoint. And, we were able to sustain the drive, pick up some key first downs. I think it was on that drive, Manning had a great play where we're just throwing smash and looked to the field, and the corner jumped the hitch, and he was able to come off it and redirect and get to his check down. And that was a check down to Anthony McMullen that he turned into, I don't know, 12 or 15-yard gain, first down. So there were a couple plays like that on that drive that were really special. And then to score at the end was huge.
Because I'm looking at this, right, Nate, and I'm thinking, well, if they hold you guys, we could have a 14-14 game at halftime. Instead, it's 21-7, and that's a 14-point swing right there, and they were playing uphill the rest of the night. So that, in my opinion, probably was the drive play of the game, however you want to phrase that.
Yeah, it was a key point in the game to go into halftime up 2 scores. It changes the dynamics of the game, how it's going to be played in the second half. And we didn't score in the third quarter, but we were able to possess the ball for much of it, and that was huge as well.
Some of the things that don't show up in the box score, Nate, I think need to be discussed as well, because on the opening kickoff of the second half, you guys fumble but are able to recover. If you don't, and St. Ed's has a short field, that could change this game completely. And then for you guys after that to pick up a 3rd and 13 to keep the drive alive and chew up some clock, it's kind of those hidden yards and those type of plays that don't get a lot of credit. But I thought that was crucial for you guys yesterday. You agree?
Yeah, absolutely. In games like this against great opponents, guys got to make plays. And we did that last night. We checked a lot of boxes. We were disciplined. We played hard. We were very physical. We executed, and guys made plays when they were called on to make the play. They made the play, and then you got to have a little luck. Also, in games like that, you got to have the ball bounce your way a couple times, and so proud of the guys, complete effort, and it was good enough to win.
Xavier Owens, 33 carries, 162 yards. The game plan going in, were you planning on featuring him that much, or did the game dictate that?
I mean, we want the ball in one's hands as much as possible, and he's a tremendous player, and he's we have a lot of great weapons offensively, but and we got a couple guys that can do multiple things, which is really nice. But he's definitely one of those guys. He does a lot of different things for us, and he's a great running back. I mean, he's really a tremendous player, and we're happy that he's performing well.
John, feel free to jump in. I got 10 more questions, but go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, the growth from week 1 to now, you guys lose to Glenville to start the season. You pick up a huge win here against St. Ed's, a team that you guys have fared well against. What's changed from week 1 to now for the Tigers in terms of growth?
I mean, it's a steady progression everywhere, or at least that's the idea, is develop, and we're lucky that we've got 75 guys that punch the clock every day. Our kids work hard, our coaches work tremendously hard, and everybody is I don't know how. Rowing the boat in the same direction, when everybody's on the same page and working as hard as they can, you've got a chance to be good. And we might as well be in Minnesota because we are rowing the boat.
Coach Jaden Williams, I looked at his numbers from last night. 9 tackles, a tackle for a loss, an interception, a fumble return. I saw James Laurinaitis, linebackers coach for the Buckeyes, scouting the game and everything. And I thought Jaden put on a nice show for James if he was there to look at him. I think he was. What's he mean to your defense?
Yeah, I'm so proud of Jaden. And, he's had tremendous growth over the course of the season also. I talked about this last night too. A lot of guys – with a commitment like that, committed to Indiana, going into their senior season, they may have a tendency to feel pretty good about themselves and take their foot off the gas a little bit and just, be content and, being as good as they were. And Jaden's definitely not done that. He's really developed over the course of this season. He's grown as a linebacker and as a player, but he's grown tremendously as a leader too. And he was a captain for us last year as well. But he's grown as a leader, and couldn't be more proud of him.
Why do you think you have St. Ed's number? That's 4 in a row, Nate. They won 3 Division I state championships in the last 4 years, but it seems, well, it is. In each of those 4 years, they've taken an L to you guys. Is it the matchup? Is it your philosophy against them? Why do you think you have their number?
Every game is different, and every year is certainly different. And it's our aim to win every game, that we play. And so, it would be embellishment to call it anything other than that. We've just go out and play hard, and then try to execute and make plays. And we found a way to win last night. Like I said, our players played really hard. Our coaching staff did a nice job. We played complimentary football in a lot of ways, and we found a way to win last night. And that's the only brick that we want to stack right now.
John, anything else? He's probably got film to go watch or something, but feel free.
Yeah, I just want to ask one question. I see in the background, Coach, that it looks like you got a picture of Paul Brown maybe leaning up against the wall there. Is there some redecorating happening in the coach's office right now for Nate Moore?
No, that's actually typically out in the hallway in the trophy case, and I got to get it reframed. It just needs a framing update is all.
I was curious.
Yeah, and throw that up there. And next week, the team from Canada, real quick, what can you tell us about your next opponent since we don't know much about them?
Well, I have not watched much film on them to this point, but they are typically massive up front. They have they look at themselves as like an IMG of the North. And so they're picking up guys from all over Canada, and so they'll have some really impressive looking players, and they had some good skill players last year as well. We kind of got the game rolling in our direction fairly quick last year, but they've got a lot of really good pieces. They've got great size, and they're going to have some good players also. So we're going to need to be at our best.
Coach, congrats on the huge win last night. Outstanding performance, very impressive, and best of luck the rest of this season, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Nate Moore,
Thanks, Coach.
In his 11th season, huge win last night, John Bozeka, that was our game, our radio game. Dan Belford had the call with Mark Miller, Denny Kincaid, yours truly, and came away very impressed. The rumors of Massillon's demise at 2-2, incorrect. They made a statement throughout the state of Ohio last night.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. You called me on the way home last night, as you often do on Friday nights. One of us calls each other, and I told you a bit about my game between Hoover and Louisville, and you said that Massillon just was manhandling St. Ed's up front, and that's not something to be taken lightly if you're the Tigers. You think back a couple weeks ago, and there was a lot of questions, even within, Tiger Town, of folks saying, well, gosh, Rayburn Gap could put $50 or 50 points on the Tigers that night. And, the fact that Massillon able to come back this week and I think what's impressive, Kenny, is that every year that program, since Nate taking over, finds a running back. They find a guy to tote the rock. They find a guy that can be that workhorse for them. You mentioned it last night, a Jameer Thomas type night for Xavier Owens, carrying the ball, I think almost 40 times. 33 was what we had on the stats. And that's an impressive effort. And the kid's only a junior. Like, he's going to get better. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get faster. Tigers are playing good football at the right time. And now that, they have the rest of the schedule, they've got time now to get ready for the playoffs, get ready for McKinley, which is, of course, kind of that season within the season. But they're looking good. And you're right. They have St. Ed's number. There are teams that would play St. Ed's 100 times and can't figure out a way to beat them. And Nate Moore, I don't know what it is. I don't know what he says, what he does, what happens in practice, but they just go to a different level against St. Ed's, and that's impressive. It's a sign and a testament to who they are.
No question about it. They play teams from 5 different states this year, 2 different countries. They're 3-2 halfway through their season. And week 10, of course, that big game against McKinley. We might as well do this right now, John. All right. Our Community One Credit Union Player of the Week. We're going to hear from him a little later on in the show, but let's let the cat out of the bag because we just talked about him and his performance for Massillon last night. It is Xavier Owens, the junior running back, 33 carries, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Those touchdown runs of 5 and 45 yards, instrumental in their win yesterday. He also, had a couple of catches for 43 yards out of the backfield. So over 200 yards of total offense against the number 1 team in the state of Ohio. How about that? Number 1 team in the state of Ohio, and Xavier Owens goes for over 2 bills and 2 touchdowns. And that was after the touchdown that tied it up 5-5, getting the what would you call that? Is that the touchdown lift? Is that the nobody puts baby in the corner lift? What is that that pose right there, John Bozeka?
I was trying to think of that. I was trying to think of a play on words using tiger something, but yeah. I'm not that creative early in the morning like this. But it definitely looks like the no one puts baby in a corner from Dirty Dancing. I don't know that that's exactly what they were going for. If they were playing Time of My Life over the Paul Brown Tiger Stadium speakers, yeah, it would take on a whole new idea on a Friday night. But it's an awesome photo, and and just the night he had, I remember week 1, he had a huge game against Glenville. And right, even though they lost, we were talking and we were saying, well, gosh, does he still deserve Player of the Week? And last night, it was pretty unanimous. I think the second we saw the effort, we all felt, well, he kind of got robbed maybe week 1 of a chance to have it there in a loss, yeah, and he deserved it here because this is even a bigger win for them than that was a loss in week 1. This is their biggest moment of the year so far, and they've got a great chance moving forward now to really, really start playing their best football with the big things on the horizon still ahead.
Throw that photo up one more time of our Community One Credit Union Player of the Week. And when it comes to money, Community Credit Union is always on your team. They've got the plays that make life easier, from loans to checking, online banking, and mobile services to youth accounts, everything in between. Community One Credit Union, where community comes first. Membership open to everyone in Stark County. And congratulations to Xavier Owens. He is our Player of the Week. All right, John, while we wait for our next coach to join us here shortly, let's run through, some of the scores. And let's go to your game from last night while we wait for Coach Jay Rohr scheduled to join us here. You had a big-time rivalry matchup last night, and it turned out to be kind of a lopsided win, but a costly win for one team.
It was a big win for the Hoover Vikings last night. You see some of the highlights here in video courtesy of our friends at LouisvilleLeopards.org. Always thank Jared and the folks there for their help getting us highlights when we can. It was an interesting game, Kenny. You saw the first touchdown there. John Collins got the night started for Hoover with his touchdown, but after that, he got injured in the game, and we still do not know the extent of that injury. We know it was an ankle injury on his right leg, but hey, Hoover responded. This kickoff return by Bryson Beyer to start the second half, and then this was the guy who took over, Kenny, and we'll see more from him later on in the huddle. Jack Andes, their do-it-all things guy, their Swiss Army knife, if you will. He was absolutely incredible last night. North Canton Hoover needed a strategy. They went in at the half, and they came up with a strategy to get this guy the football on a wildcat-type formation, similar to what Massillon was doing last night with Xavier Owens. This time, though, they used Jack Andes, their normal leading wide receiver. He does tote the rock sometimes, but last night he became the go-to guy offensively for them that they had to lean on. 17 touches, 103 yards, and 2 scores. And without his effort in that second half, Kenny, I really don't know that Hoover is able to win that football game. And not just that, Hoover's defense last night was incredible. Absolutely shut down everything that Louisville had. Louisville's touchdowns came on a short field, on a 40-yard field after a special teams mishap. And then late in the game, pretty much in what would be popular logic to say garbage time, you know, and I hate using that term at the high school level, but there is that point in games sometimes. But still, overcoming the injury of John Collins, your guy that had led you all year to that point, 8 touchdowns to 1 interception, leading rusher on the team, literally carrying the Vikings to their 4-0 start. And they say, hey, you know what? Next man up. We got to get Jack Andes the football. And George and I on the broadcast, we were talking about it right before the half, Ken. We were like, what are they going to do? Who are they going to get the ball to? And he said, well, maybe there's a wide receiver they could get the ball to. Yeah. And he knew. Yeah. He was thinking ahead, you know, but 5-0. First time since 2003, Kenny, that the Vikings are 5-0. Don Hertler Jr. was patrolling the sidelines last time they were 5-0.
That's impressive. The game was 7-7 at the half, so it was anybody's game at the half with Collins down. I read in the paper today he was on crutches towards the end of the game. They hope it's not too serious, so fingers crossed that it's not what happened to Ty DeGeorge. Doesn't sound like it is, right? So that's, I guess, the good news in all of that. The last time Jack Andes played quarterback, 8th grade. How about that? So he goes from wide receiver to wildcat quarterback and does a bang-up job. And he threw 1 pass for 26 yards in the game as well. And you mentioned the touchdown there, Bryson Beyer with that second half touchdown return to put them up 14-7, and Hoover never looked back. So congratulations to Brian Baum and the Vikings in his 11th season.
You mentioned that pass that he threw to Preston Copeland's was the guy that he completed it to. I texted Brian Baum about it last night, and Coach is going to join us here, but I want to get this out there because it was so funny to me. I texted him and I said, when Jack Andes threw that pass, did your heart skip a beat? Because, Kenny, it was a wounded duck in the air. And he said it looked like he kicked it. That's what he said in response back. So Coach Baum knew that it was a point of concern. And, you know, Kenny, what's crazy is last night before the game, and I'm going to bring this up with Coach Baum today, but right. I asked him about the fact that, you know, they've dealt with injuries every year. I was like, you guys always have that catastrophic moment where it's like you're off to an unbelievable start, and then you've got to rethink the thing entirely. And I thought it was interesting last night. He told me immediately, and again, we'll ask him about it, but he said they were ready. You know, it didn't phase them. And I think that's, you know, 11th year in, same thing as Nate Moore. You're starting to see that growth in the coaching staff that, you know, they're like, okay, you know, we got to just go in and come up with a different strategy now. And they did, and they got their best player of the football.
And they found a way to win. They're perfect on the year. 6th straight win for Hoover over Louisville, and that was the 103rd meeting in that rivalry. So Louisville suffers their first defeat for Chris Kappas and the Leps, and Hoover still undefeated. And they'll move up probably in Ken's top 10 for Stark County teams, I'm guessing, this week based on what has happened throughout Stark County. John, let's give some other scores and, talk about some of these other games and who stood out in these other games. McKinley, a winner last night. So they get a big win over Perry, 28-18. And this highlight we're seeing here, I think that's Northwest, right, over Canton South. And the Indians prevail 24-14 in this one. Braden Venables, a touchdown pass and a touchdown run for Northwest. And Ben Chance with another field goal for Northwest. He had the game winner last week. So Northwest improves to 3-1 on the year. They're now 2-0 in Pac-7 play as they defeat Canton South. So a big win for them. And coming up a little bit later on, John DeMarco and a special guest will join us from this game. We mentioned McKinley 28-18 over Perry. Kylan West, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Bulldogs, who are now 4-1, 2-0 in Fed League play. Lake remains undefeated, 5-0 after beating Glen Oak last night, 35-21. Alex Squire, the quarterback, 4 touchdown passes in that game for the Blue Streaks, who remain undefeated. Jackson, a huge win. We were supposed to have, why don't you text Coach Rohr?
I did. I did. I texted him and I texted Coach Baum. They're both supposed to be joining us here right now. Coach DeMarco, I see, is in the queue right now. I don't know if he can hear us and be a part of that, but if he wants to join early, he of course can. We're open to changing. We'll call an audible on the huddle. We have no problem doing that.
Absolutely. So if he gets the video up there, we'll join Coach DeMarco there. Jackson wins it though, 38-35. Another 1-score game between Jackson and Green as they beat the Bulldogs to get their first Federal League win of the season. They're now 1-0, 3-2 on the year. How about this? 824 yards of combined offense in that Jackson Green game that finishes up Jackson 38. Green 35. Minerva, Zach Slates wins his 4th in a row since taking over the Lions head coaching job. Minerva 31, St. Thomas nothing in that victory for Minerva. That's a big story happening in Stark County.
It is, and they've got a huge game coming up this week. The EBC lid lifter, if you will, as you would say, Kenny,
yes.
As they go up against West Branch this coming week at home. I actually texted Zach about that game about a week and a half ago because I said, look, you're in a situation, St. Tom. I was like, no offense at all to Coach Henderson. He knows he's going to be outmatched in that game, but you got to love Kevin for the effort that his kids still put forward. But I said, are you going to be ready for a West Branch? And he said, we'll be ready. He said, West Branch might even underestimate us, and we like that. Okay. So, they're thinking about that. And he said, the community is so ready for a game like that, a moment like that, to have a big, big game where they're kind of the center of attention in the county. And I know that's going to be really exciting for them next week. Go ahead.
All right. Other scores to tell you about. Fairless, a loser to Orville, 48-35, as the Falcons put up a lot of points, but come up on the short end in that one. Alliance beat Central 42-7. J.R. Jackson, 189 yards, 3 touchdown passes in the first half alone in that win. Tuslaw, a loser to Triway, 21-14. Sandy Valley falls to Strasburg, 42-7. East Canton was undefeated. They're not anymore. Ridgewood took it to them yesterday, 35-0. Marlington will take on Warren JFK later on this afternoon, and those are all the games from in and around Stark County last night. So as we wait on a couple of more coaches here to get their video in, and we'll invite them into the huddle here shortly. But week 5 in the books, and impressive for some teams, and one of those teams, no doubt about it. John, you had the game with Hoover, and Coach Baum joins us now.
He does. Coach Brian Baum joining us on the huddle this morning. Coach, thanks for stopping by, and thanks for making time.
Hey, thanks a lot. Sorry I was at youth football today with my boys, so running a little late today.
Hey, no worries at all. Coach, 5-0. 5-0 you guys sit now, and in a situation here where you're really playing what seems like great football early in the year. What worked last night despite the injury, and what allowed you guys to still get out of there with a victory against a tough Louisville team?
The guys rallied together, defensively, even offensively. We got some things going, but special teams, really a catalyst. And, the kickoff return there to start the second half was big for momentum. But the guys believing in each other, rallying together, and it's getting back to Hoover Viking football, which was grind it out, find ways to move the chains, play solid defense, and outstanding special teams.
Yeah, Coach Jack Andes, you call on him to be more than just a runner last night and a wide receiver, and he takes that and seems to run with it. Why was he able to make the plays that he did in that situation when maybe you guys haven't run that all year?
The O-line played very well. Gave some run lanes, and we knew he's an athlete, and that's what we did last night. We put an athlete at quarterback and ran some basic plays that we had worked on all summer, but really haven't worked on a lot of that since the summer as we went a different direction offensively. But we need to. We'll get back into some of our gap schemes, and our boys really adapted well and did some blocking stuff that we hadn't worked on in a while, and I was real proud of their effort up front.
Coach, update on John Collins. What can you tell us this morning?
It's an ankle sprain. He's got to battle through, and like I said, get it rehabbed.
So that's good. Just an ankle sprain. We saw tied to George break his ankle for Lake. He's out probably for the season. So that's encouraging news, Coach. And I'm just wondering, do you blame my partner, John Bozeka, as the black cat for one of your key players getting hurt in that game?
He mentioned something before the game, and I was like, we don't talk about that. And then it happened. I was like, I'm glad I didn't run into you last night.
Kenny, I texted Brian right after the game, and I was like, man, I feel like the worst person in Louisville right now for sending that message. But, Coach, the way your guys adapted, I want to talk about your defense, too. You've got those Lukens brothers. You've got the guys up front. David Tully last night, 2 sacks. I mean, you've got some dudes on that side of the ball. I know you love a great defense. Why is the defense playing at such a high level right now?
They're bought into it. We're running the forefront. We're how do I put this? We're platooning a lot of guys in that forefront to stay fresh. I mean, we're playing the 6-8 D linemen in interior, playing 4 different defensive ends. We're rotating guys in and out because we want to stay fresh and stay fast. That allows my linebackers to play fast. And you talk about the Lukens boys, Kish, Kavanaugh, those 4 guys in there. They're doing a real good job with the reads. They're playing downhill, and the secondary is doing a good job being, they're being where they need to be and helping us out there.
Not just that, Coach, but also you mentioned on the back end, Aiden Kish made a huge interception late in the game last night. Just everybody on the defense seems to understand their role. Why has that been such a high level this year on that side of the ball?
I lost it, yeah.
John,
you hear me, Coach?
I don't think he can hear you. Might have lost you, but we can let him go, right? I mean, that's a nice run there with Coach. As his team got the big victory last night, and we got him back now. Go ahead, bring him in. Let's try and bring Coach Baum back in here and see if we can get this squared away. There he is, Coach. John was talking about your overall defense, I guess, Coach, and in such a big game, a rivalry game like that. How did you guys keep your composure and play so well, holding them to just 13 points?
We rallied on defense. First half, their backs were against the wall quite a few times. Bend, don't break mentality. Once we got the offense to help switch the field in the second half, our guys just started really getting after the quarterback. And, that's a tough position for a quarterback to be in. Is the D-line, their ears pinned back, especially some of the speed we have up there. Our secondary, as I talked about, Aiden Kish bounced from linebacker to safety. He has 3 years experience, so he's now a guy that can do things like that. And he come downhill. He made a play on third medium on their quarterback, made it 4th and short, but he hit him so hard his helmet flew off. Next play, they got a different quarterback in, fumbles a snap. We get the ball and field position, and we win the game right there. So Aiden Kish is now standing job coming downhill, playing like a linebacker. He's been trained to safety. So
that's outstanding.
Yeah, Coach, first time since 2003 starting 5-0. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to the program?
Yeah, our guys doing a good job in passing each test so far. There's only been 3 undefeated teams in Hoover history. So that's not something we think of. We think about just how can we pass the test weekly. And so far, we've been very fortunate. Now we have another tough task. Glen Oak's got size, speed. They don't have a lot of wins right now, but they're a very capable team, and we have to understand that we've got to play our game and not look ahead to anything else.
Coach, thanks for getting up with us on the huddle this morning. Congrats on the 5-0, and I'll make sure John Bozeka doesn't speak to you before any games the rest of this season, all right?
Hey, I apologize. I was running late. That was the reason I fell off. The Lukens boys were calling me, so they wanted to be on too.
All right, we'll get them next time. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot from your guys this season. All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. See you. There he is, Brian Baum.
I might be banned from any Baum family gatherings in the future if I was ever going to be invited to any of them. You know what? We got to get our next coach and player in here. They were supposed to stop by earlier. They ended up stopping by now. Jay Rohr and quarterback Lucas Eckerman. Guys, thanks so much for stopping by this morning on the Huddle.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Got you loud and clear, Coach.
I'll give all the credit. Lucas was actually here. I don't get to see my little guy. I got a kindergartner. They were playing flag football. And for the first time, I was able to run up there and watch. And I'll be honest, lost track of time. He got a chance to run the ball. So I do apologize to you guys, and I appreciate you guys' willingness to still host us. As I alluded to, Lucas was sitting here the whole time waiting for me to get back, and actually sent me a text, Coach, where are you at? So appreciate you guys.
That's a first, right? That's a first where the players wondering where the coach is at.
That's right.
No
problem. Coach,
first always, Coach. We totally understand.
Thank you,
Coach.
Guys.
How did the little guy look toting the rock? Does he look like his dad?
He's got some similarities. So no, I love it. Proud father. Obviously, again, kindergarten. We want to make it as fun as possible in our youth program. And really all the coaches in our youth program are doing a phenomenal job. So it was a blessing to, again, have the opportunity to go watch your son play. So appreciate you guys asking.
Not a problem, Coach. Big win for you guys last night. It always seems to be a one-score game when you play green one way or the other. That was the case last night with the final score 38-35. Coach, what was the key in getting that win? And then we'll talk to your quarterback here in a sec.
Yeah, reality is this. I mean, it was a collective unit, really all three phases of the game. It's something that you just alluded to in regards to always coming down to the wire. I have a lot of respect for every coach that's in our conference. As I say each year, I think that's the one thing that separates us from the rest of the state is we got tremendous coaches that put in a lot of time, and Coach Geis is one of those guys. At Green, they got great players and great schemes, and really it was coming within all three phases of the game and being who is going to be the more disciplined football team. And offensively, we were able to put points on. Defensively, early in the game, we were able to get stops. And special teams, we were really good throughout the night. In the second half, really the last probably 5 minutes of the game, we kind of fell apart defensively, and our offense picked it up and ended up, helping us win the shootout. But, each week we've been challenged really throughout each game this season, whether it's the injuries and there's no excuses, or whether it's the opponents that we played. We believe that, we've been somewhat battle tested throughout these first few games. And now you get a game that comes down to the wire. That's a back and forth game. We got a resilient group. And as I say, each time we get it, we're blessed to get a W. And there's no question even coming from last night against a great opponent.
Yeah, Lucas, for you, you've been part of all of these tight games basically since the time that you were a freshman. Did this seem easy last night then, playing a tight game with Green? It was a familiar area, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, it definitely helps having that experience in the past. It relieves some pressure, like that I've been there and I've done it before. It helps that mental process that goes through that.
Lucas, how have you been able to play through the knee injury? You guys have been hit with injury, especially at the quarterback position, but also at the running back position. How have you been able to play through this and play well? 10 of 18, 175 in the air last night, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with, just treatment with Trish, our trainer, and getting my body right, and then having confidence in our team and our guys to go make plays. And, that's what happened.
Coach, seeing your senior leader like Lucas play through that and continue to put the team in a situation to win, what does that say about him?
Again, something I saw, really 3 years ago. I mean, obviously 4 years ago when he was a freshman. It's he's just a resilient player, and I think it's a motivational thing. That you can look at a guy like Lucas that's gone through what he's gone through, and to come back and still have, the confidence in his own abilities, the confidence in his teammates, the resiliency, and it's what brings the rest of the team along. Again, a guy that has that much game experience, willing to lay that much on the line for the betterment of the entire team, and in selfishness. Again, I think it's the players see that. They want to play for Eck. They want to play with him, next to him. They want to support him, and they want to protect him. And I think, again, not at all times last night, but certainly just in general, I think that's what we're going to see week in and week out.
It was a shootout, as you mentioned, Coach. And Lucas, you put up some nice numbers, but how nice was it to get some help? 31 carries, 208 yards from wide receiver turned running back Corey Jacobs.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I feel like every time he was getting the ball, it was like a first down or something. So it took some pressure off the offense and passing and stuff, and made it easier because they were worried about the run.
And, Coach, we just had Brian Baum on. He had to make an in-game switch from a wide receiver to wildcat at quarterback. You've had to make adjustments as well. How have your kids been able to play so many different roles so far this season?
I think, like I said, as a coach, you do. That was great to hear what you just said about Coach Baum, and I'm not shocked by that. But every time, each week or each season, you got to expect the unexpected. And again, with Chase Mauer, going down, unfortunately, and I know other teams have had injuries. We just have an unselfish group. We as a coaching staff had to change the way in which we practice. And that allowed Corey to get a lot more reps from the offensive side, really just pulling him completely across from the defensive side, and then still having sessions throughout our practice to where we can get Corey over on the defensive side. But the primary focus is just being able to adapt the coaching staff's, on page or on point with the philosophy in which we're going about things. And again, right now we're getting healthy at the right time, and guys have just bought in again to that role and how we're going about things.
John, I want to jump in real quick. One more question for
Sure.
Lucas, if you don't mind. The connection, Lucas, you have with Max Cowles, it seems every game there's a big play, a big connection. 3 catches for him last night, 66 yards and another touchdown. What is it about you two?
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing together since middle school, and even earlier playing baseball together since we were 9 years old. So I feel like just having a bond with him, he's like my brother. So I feel like every route he runs, I know exactly what he's going to do, and that really does help.
Lucas, it's interesting. You being a senior, I remember coming to the year and I was like, gosh, do they still have Lucas Eckerman on the team? Like, it seems like you've been playing there since, since the Fife era back in the 60s. But I want to ask you about, being a senior this year and trying to leave a legacy for the team as a senior. How has that changed your mindset this year?
Yeah, I think that trying to leave a legacy makes me go harder in practice and in games because, they always say, like, what do you want to be remembered by? And I feel like I want to be remembered by winning and being a good player and a good teammate.
Coach, what does that mean to hear? Yeah. What does that mean to hear him say that he wants to be remembered by winning? I mean, that's got to make you so proud, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's proud. It's and just everything that he just said, being a great player, a great teammate. That's what you're going to get with a Lucas Eckerman. He's a very unselfish kid, an unselfish player. He's a tremendous guy with character. He's a 4.0 student, if not higher. He's a great leader in the locker room, whether it's by his voice or simply by his play. And you can see it again coming back from the knee injury a few years ago to having the hiccup this year. And still with the mental toughness and mental mindset that he's demanding to be able to run the ball, knowing that that's going to help our team to be a dual threat guy. Again, I couldn't be more proud of him. And we have a long way to go. But he knows that across the board. So again, as I always say, I'm happy he's on our team.
Kenny, I think
John, you got another question? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think Lucas has been the quarterback at Jackson so long. He couldn't grow facial hair when he started as the quarterback as a freshman. And now he's got a goatee and a mustache and everything.
Well done.
Absolutely.
Well done. Hey,
That's
guys,
the passage
congrats
of time right there.
on the win
Go ahead,
last night, 38-35. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you again down the road, and go see your son tote the rock a little more there, Jay, if they're still playing, all right?
Absolutely. Kenny and John, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate all you guys do. So thanks for having us.
Thanks for getting
Thank
up.
you, Coach.
All right, good win.
Yeah, that's a great win for them, and it's just, as you said, it's funny. Last week we were talking about switching our stream game, and Pam suggested to me, well, why don't you go do Jackson and Green? And I was like, it's 2-2, 1-3.
Shame
and like,
on you, right?
I should have known.
73 points.
It's always a great game, and I can't say enough, Kenny. Every single year, it seems like Jackson kind of hits that point under Coach Rohr where it's like, will they or won't they? And they just seem to like always figure it out and take that next step.
Yeah.
And this year, battling through the injuries has been the most impressive thing. Losing the way they did to Fitch early in the year, a lot of teams would have said, gosh, we just got blown out by 40 points. We need to pack it up and already start thinking. But guys like Lucas Eckerman, Max Cowles, they've got seniors. And Coach A.J. Sarbaugh always tells me, you win with seniors.
Yeah.
And they've got seniors on their side.
Yeah. All right, let's move along to our next coach. He's been in waiting, and we appreciate that. And hopefully we can get some video up with Coach DeMarco from Northwest, as they were a winner last night, 24-14. Coach DeMarco, are you there?
Yes, we're here. Can you hear us?
We can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you. But we'll run with that here, Coach. Congratulations on the win last night, 24-14 over Canton South in a Pac-7 game. What was the key to that 10-point victory?
Well, we played well defensively. We've been playing well defensively all year, and we're able to contain some of their skill guys and keep them under wraps a little bit. They got loose for one big play on us, and but other than that, we're able to prevent the big play and give our offense a chance to get some points on the board.
Coach, the play last night of your quarterback, Braden Venables, really seemed to find a lot of comfort in the system last night. What allowed him to be so successful, not just passing, but also running with the ball in his hands as well?
Well, it's his fourth game playing, so I think each week he's gotten a little bit more comfortable. He did a nice job of making decisions last night, and I think he got in a little bit of a groove, a little bit of a zone, and started having a little bit of success and made some plays, and it just kind of came together for him a little bit. But he's a good athlete. He makes good decisions, and brought it together last night.
Coach, is Joey Madure there with you as well?
Yes, he is. I can't figure out why we can't get you can't get our video on there.
That's all right. We've got some highlights that we're rolling from your game there. Let's talk to Joey then, since he joined you, as he had a big touchdown run for you guys last night. Joey, what was the key offensively for you guys?
Maybe we lost them. Hold on. Oh, got to add them back. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah,
Go
Joey,
ahead, Joey.
What was the key offensively for you guys last night, Joey?
Offensive line play. Really just beating them up front, making everything easy.
Joey, when it comes to what you've been able to accomplish this year and coming into a program like Northwest, how have you found comfort in your first year with the Indians this season?
Really just the coaches, the community, the kids. It's all been great. Really nice transition.
And Coach, for you, having a player like this, Joey, stepping up and adding to the offense that we joke every once in a while it's Air Indians. Well, last night you guys were doing it on the ground, and he was a big part of it. How huge is that for balance with your offense?
Well, he's been definitely a great addition, and especially we would like to spread the field a little bit, and we're able to spread the field and get him going last night. He ended up 22 for 152 or something like that, and watching a 21-yard score that he got right there to kind of put the game away. But he's been a welcome addition, not just on the field but off the field. He's come in with a great work ethic, mixed in with our kids really well, and it's hard to believe he's only been here for a few months because he mixes with our kids so well.
Coach, do you guys feel like your ready for the task coming up this week against Lake. Probably going to be the toughest team that you face to date, some might argue, but going against a Federal League team, what's that going to be like this week for these guys? And what do you hope to learn about this group?
Well, we hope it kind of springboards us into the second half of the season. Obviously, the Federal League's a whole different animal. Lake is obviously very physical, very sound in how they play. They don't beat themselves. I'm hoping we could get in and match them and be able to take the physicality from Lake and take it into the second half of our season.
Coach, special teams won you a game last week. You get 3 more points from your kicker, Ben Shantz, again this week. How nice is it as a coach to know, okay, if we can get to whatever that yard line is, right, the 20, 25, 30, I've got a chance for 3 points if it, we don't pick up a first down.
Well, we were a little rough last night in that area.
Okay.
It was nice the week before. We actually had 4 attempts last night, and we botched a snap on one of them, and he pulled a couple left last night. So we're overall 1 of 4. So that's something we got to shore up a little bit. We also got to shore up getting the ball into the end zone and not ending up on the, anywhere from the 10 to the 20-yard line where we were last night, not getting the ball into the zone. Especially when you play a team like Lake, you can't, you got to take care of every advantage or every opportunity you have. And we didn't do that last night.
Yeah, Coach, it seemed like last night, too, going against a team in Canton South that had athletes that you guys were able to neutralize a lot of that at times. What went into that for the defense, and how were they able to slow down a team that really does have talent all over the field?
Well, our defensive staff, it starts right there, have done a great job this year, led by Todd Barkin, who's our coordinator. I think they had a great game plan in, and more than anything, we're just trying to prevent a big play and make them snap it again, keep their quarterbacks contained as much as we could, and try to control the ball a little bit offensively, keep our defense off the field. And we did a nice job of that last night, I thought.
Coach, you're 2-0 in the Pac-7 to start. 2 other teams have at least 1 win and no losses in the Pac-7. As you play a non-conference game, do you keep an eye on what the other teams are doing in the Pac-7 when you're out of conference next week, or no, you just focus on Lake and worry about that later?
No, I don't worry about that. We always try to tell our kids it's all about what we're doing, not about what somebody else is doing. We can control our own destiny here. We just need to take care of our own business.
Coach, I do want to ask one more question about Braden Venables, your quarterback. These highlights that we've shown, he does such a nice job of stepping up in the pocket on that one throw and then eluding a tackler on that run. He's a shorter kid. What goes into him being the player that he is? How is it that he's able to make those plays and be so comfortable even when things are closing around him?
He's got great composure. He doesn't seem to get too excited one way or the other. And I think it starts with that. He's a true football guy. I mean, he lives and breathes it. He knows the history of football. He's been into this. He's watched Northwest football since he's been very young. This is something he's wanted to do his entire life. But he just does a great job of keeping his composure. He's also very coachable. And I know the coach is kind of hard on him and works with him on a lot of different drills, and he takes it all in and is always trying to improve, always trying to make himself better.
I've got one more question for Joey. 22 carries last night. How you feeling this morning, Joey? 22 carries take its toll, or no, you're good with that?
Oh, I'm good. Just feels good to get the win.
And Coach, you love hearing that, right? Probably give him
yes, he looked pretty fresh on that run, and that was late in the game. So I'm thinking maybe he can use the ball a little bit more, and that won't be a problem either.
Okay, I was going to say at 22, maybe move that up to about 30 carries next week. You good with that, Joey? If he asks you to do that,
do whatever he tells me to do.
Wow, listen to that.
That's his attitude. That's how he's been since he's got here. He's just willing to do whatever, wherever. And he just fit in really well, and we're just so glad to have him.
Coach, we're so glad that we had you guys on the huddle this morning. Coach John DeMarco and running back Joey Medor for the Northwest Indians, who win last night on our YouTube Game of the Week. Guys, thanks for stopping by the Huddle, and we look forward to seeing you guys later this year out in Canal Fulton, okay?
Well, thanks. We appreciate you for having us, and you didn't have to see my ugly mug this morning. I'm disappointed that Joey didn't get some FaceTime on there, but it's technology stuff still a little bit ahead of me. But we look forward to having you guys out here anytime we could get you.
I always look forward
Thanks,
to coming
Coach.
to Northwest, Coach. Thanks so much, and good job there. Hey, we got the highlights of Joey doing his thing on the field, John, right? That's as important, if not more important. So we go from one head coach and a player to another head coach and a player. Let's bring in from Alliance outstanding head football coach Tim Goodman joining us. And, Coach, who do you have with you for our viewers out there today?
He's our senior captain, Grady Fast. He plays on our defensive line and is our tight end for us.
Outstanding. Well, both of you, thanks for getting up with us here on the Saturday morning huddle. And Coach, an impressive win last night over Central, 42-7. What was the key to dominating that game the way you did?
The big message for our guys this week was to come out with a lot of energy and make sure that from the very first kickoff in all three phases that we're playing hard, because, no matter what Central's record is or who's playing for them, they're going to be a hard-nosed physical football team. So we had to match that right away, and I think our kids did a good job with that, and I'm proud of the effort they gave for 4 quarters.
Coach, I know that you have a lot of tight relationships with guys around the county that are also coaches. As the season goes along, are you able to lean on those relationships with other guys to prepare for some of the things that you're going to see as the year comes?
Yeah, I think as the year goes on and just in the offseason, you're always picking guys' brains that have been doing it longer than you have and kind of seeing how you adjust, because each team and each season is different. You're working with different personalities, different, outcomes, different adversity. So you're just picking their brains, seeing because they've been through it, what you can do as a coach to kind of put your guys in best position to succeed.
All right, let's check in with Grady Fast, defensive lineman, tight end. Grady, do you like one side of the ball better than the other, or no? You're good no matter where you're at?
Well, I kind of like defense a little bit better, but, the offense might need a little bit of help, and I'm there. Got to do what we got to do for the team to win.
Grady, starting off 4-1, what does that say about this group?
This group is just really special, and I feel like this group, compared to the last couple of years I've been here, it's really tight, and the bond is getting better, and we keep praying and praying what our coach has given to us.
And, Coach, I'm impressed because we had you a few weeks ago. You come up short to Louisville, but since then, this team seems to have really responded. What have you noticed as the difference from then to where you are now at 4-1?
Yeah, losses can be a good thing for you. And I think that loss to Louisville was a good thing for our program. We learned a lot of lessons on how to approach different games. We learned things about ourselves that we need to really improve on. And credit to the kids and our leaders like Grady for receiving those messages and saying, okay, that's the challenge. Let's get better now. I think they've taken that in stride. Our defense is playing lights out right now, and our offense is starting to click. So I like where we're at as a team.
Grady, likewise for you, a loss. What did that do for you? What did that do for the other seniors?
Well, it's as a senior, you're not guaranteed another season at all. So it hurt, but we had to turn it into let's get better off of the loss instead of downfall and we're going to lose all the games. We turned it into, all right, let's get better, challenge ourselves. We got Streetsboro next week, and it's going to be a good game. We won off of that, and we're just using our confidence. Keep going. Now we have EBC.
Yeah, Coach, conference play, right? I'm looking at, the standings and everything. Nobody's played a game in your conference yet. So next week, it's conference play finally for you guys in week number 6. Does anything change preparation-wise or no?
Yeah, I think we just got to take it to another level. You're going to start going with these different, old rivalries of they've been playing Salem since they were probably in 2nd, 3rd grade, so they know those guys really well, and you want those hometown bragging rights. So I think just taking our preparation to a different level, our intensity, our focus as you enter league play is a key.
Coach, I feel like sometimes maybe the EBC gets a little underappreciated as far as conferences go in the county. Why is it so tough week in and week out?
There's really good football coaches out here in the EBC. Coach Johnson at Salem has been doing it for a long time. Had a great run at Camp McKinley. Coach Cooper at West Branch is one of the masterminds when it comes to offensive football. You got Coach Slates who's getting it going down there at Minerva. So there's a lot of guys out here that are really good football coaches. And the kids, just like every other kid, at other schools in this county, they just love football and they play hard. And I think anywhere you go in Stark County, Northeast Ohio, you're going to get tough, hard-nosed kids that play really, really hard.
Grady, for you, playing both sides, right? The smaller schools, kids have to go both ways. How have you gotten yourself in shape to be able to go D-line and tight end night in and night out when coach needs you?
It starts at practice. When you practice hard, it makes Friday a lot more easier. So when you go 100% on both sides of the ball at practice, it makes it a lot easier when you go during games.
Coach, how nice is it to hear this kid? Sorry, John. I just heard it. It sounds like a leader, right? It sounds like somebody you can rely on as another coach on the football field.
Yeah, absolutely. And Grady's one of those guys. He's not afraid to voice his opinion. Sometimes when our guys need a little foot up their butt, this guy's not afraid to do it. And that's what you need. You need player-led teams. You need guys in the field that it's not always the head coach coming, because eventually that voice gets muted out. So when it's one of your peers, it's a guy like Grady who's played 3 years of football for us, saying this is what needs to be done, the kids receive that a little bit better. So it's good to have this guy leading us for this year.
A little kick in the butt to his teammates. Grady, is that hard for you to do that to your peers?
Sometimes but at the end of the day, when you want what everybody else wants is a win, they really understand and they're like, okay, let's turn up another notch.
And I'm looking at some numbers from last night. Coach JR had 189 yards passing in the first half and 3 touchdowns. He's one of the most electrifying players in Stark County this year. How has he gotten better, though? It seems like he has.
Yeah, just understanding the offense as a whole, and that's, I think, any quarterback you coach, the longer they're in the system, the more game reps they take, they kind of understand what we're trying to do. They understand why I'm calling a play I'm calling. That's what I think he's taking the next level, and knowing where all his receivers are on the field at the same time. You kind of see that background, or that basketball background show up as a point guard, knowing where all 4 guys are so he can get through all his reads and know where to check down to. And then you got guys like Grady in our offensive line, keeping him clean and letting him sit back there and really pick teams apart. That was what really stood out to me last night, man. Our pockets last night were really, really good and gave JR time to throw the ball.
Grady, that's an interesting point that he brings up there. I always read about Fran Tarkenton, that, the great old quarterback for the Vikings, that his linemen had to anticipate where he was going to go. As a blocker, keeping JR upright, how do you anticipate where he's going to go on the field?
Sometimes you just never know. But sometimes you just got to put your body on another body and he'll do the rest.
And Coach, the running game last night, Ravon Hawkins, 137 yards rushing and a touchdown. That shows me from the stats, because I didn't see the game, I'm just looking at box scores, there's a good balance on offense. Are you happy with where you're at there?
Yeah, that's what we're striving to do. We're trying to, keep our offense balanced, that they can't just drop back in coverage and anticipate the pass, or they can't just load up the box because we have weapons on the perimeter. So we want to have a nice balance, throwing the ball, running the ball. And it's even nice when you get a big guy like this to catch it. A nice 12-yard catch last night, took a shot over the middle, got up and shrugged it off. So, getting a lot of guys touches too. I think we had 5 or 6 receivers catch the ball. So that was good for us as well.
Grady, are you going to tell your grandkids one day that was a 52-yard catch that went for a touchdown?
Tell them it was a touchdown, yeah. 99-yard touchdown.
So what was it like getting hit when you're usually doing the one, laying the wood to somebody else?
Well, I really didn't know anybody was there. So I was preparing myself to get a couple more yards, and he hit me pretty good.
Coach, it seems like last thought that I have, but he mentioned sometimes just put your body on another body. That means these guys run towards physicality. You got to love that, right?
Yeah. And to me, I'm a former offensive lineman myself. That at the end of the day is what wins football games. You have to have a physical football team. And, I think the rap on Alliance for forever is they have great athletes. And we do have really good athletes, but we also are a physical football team. And to me, that's always what makes us the difference between being a good Alliance team or a great Alliance team. Are we physical? We have a lot of guys like Grady and Kanan Jones and DJ Geisman that no one knows about because JR and Ravon and Tajay and Jaron get all the headlines. But these guys are physical, and it's what has been having us play so well offensively and defensively as of late.
I love it, Coach. That's great. Thanks for bringing Grady on today. Kudos to you, kid, for the catch and doing what you're doing on the D-line and putting that foot up somebody if they need it. Keep up the good work. All right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Alliance with a big win last night, John Bozeka, as they take care of Central 42-7. They improved to 4-1 on the year.
You know, Kenny, it was always funny. I always heard the story that Doug Deacon, the former Browns color commentator, when he caught the one pass that he did, I think, in his career, ran with the ball one time, that he told everybody the story that he was like, oh, yeah, I went for like 50 yards and a touchdown. And Grady's going to have that same experience. Really happy for the Aviators. They've kind of had some tough years. They've got a great group of seniors. And I'll tell you what, that's going to be a really competitive race in the EBC.
Yeah.
West Branch 4-1, they're 4-1, and Minerva, the team that maybe Zach Slates and a couple folks out there, Wolfie, expected them to be 4-1, but they're 4-1 right now too. And there's going to be a lot of eyes on that conference race as they enter into conference play this coming week.
No question. And one conference that's already played a bunch of games is the Federal League. And joining us right now at 5-0 overall, 2-0 in conference play, Dan DeGeorge with some special guests from the Lake Blue Streaks. Coach and players, thanks for getting up with us this morning. How are you?
Doing well. Appreciate you guys having us on.
Who you got with you today, Coach?
To my left here, I have Owen Snyder, offensive tackle. And to my right, Kyle Hammer, inside linebacker for us, both senior captains, a big part of what we've been able to do so far this year, both of them.
Coach, 5-0. How does that feel?
Feels great. Yeah. I mean, you want to win every single game. The one reporter I was talking to last night, the thing I said is that the most exciting thing about being 5-0 is I know we can get a lot better. So the opportunity to improve and still have the record that we do is an exciting thing for us. But we got a long ways to go.
Coach, how were you able to keep your kids focused? Because I know 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they're playing a team that's, 1-3 or whatever and doesn't have a win in the Federal League and might be looking past that game. How were you able to keep your kids focused?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you talk about it as much as you can. It's not easy. I remember being their age as well. Again, that was a long time ago. And the things you think as a kid, but just try to remind them that, Coach Garcia and his staff do a great job. He's a great coach and their kids were going to come out and fight. And they did. They were up on us in the first quarter and we did not play well in the first quarter. That was probably our worst first quarter of football in a long time, but our kids responded on both sides of the ball and they woke up a little bit. And moving forward, you hope the lesson learned is that you can't show up for a game like that and still find a way to win consistently, particularly in our league.
Oh, and last night, your quarterback, Alex Squire, has a huge night. You're obviously a big reason why he stays upright. Tell me about blocking for your quarterback and the offensive line going to work and what makes them special.
Yeah, it's great working with my guys up front. We're like a team up there, and we're really good at keeping Alex up, and Alex makes some plays for us, so it's great.
Some plays. Coach, you had a heck of a game, 4 touchdown passes last night. What was it about the game plan where you thought you could hurt Glen Oak in the air?
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to mix up our run and pass. This year, we have a little bit more speed at all our wideout positions, which I think makes us tougher to defend. We called a few things in the first quarter last night. It had some guys wide open and dropped some passes that we don't normally drop. And we kept battling. Alex did a good job of stepping up and make some things happen with his legs. Our receivers kept running their routes. In the second quarter, we hit some big plays, throwing the ball. Then some play action stuff later on that we were able to set up because we were able to run the ball. So Alex is doing a nice job throwing the ball. Our receivers are doing a nice job. We spread the ball around. I think, 4 different guys had a touchdown catch last night. So that's a good thing. Makes us harder to defend.
Kyle, I want to ask you because every time we talk to Coach DeGeorge, he brings up Coach Viscount. And I want to talk to you because you play on Coach Viscount's defense. What is it about him that makes him such a special guy and allows the defense to play at a high level?
I would just say the way that he coaches, like he really gets on everybody in practice, which I like because he wants the best for every player. And I would just say schematically, I think he's very knowledgeable because he's been coaching for so long. and he's coached. He's been the head coach. He's been the defensive coordinator of Lake. So yeah, I would just say like schematically, and also the way he like coaches us and then gets us hyped before the games. Like he's the camaraderie, like all that stuff. Yeah, it's really good.
Kyle, for the team falling behind 7-0 early on, but you guys rally and take a 28-7 lead into the locker room at halftime. What was said? What changed last night?
I would just say that I was just like the energy. I feel like the first quarter, everybody just thought, like Glen Oak was bad and we were just going to, beat them down without even trying or nobody putting forth effort. So I was just like, we got to get the energy up. We got to play just like any other week, just like McKinley or Perry or any other Federal League team, because they're just as good. So I just think the mentality of that, it doesn't matter what the record is, that they're going to come out and try to beat us. So we have to put the same effort out.
Coach, do you like kind of getting those games where you get punched in the mouth maybe a little bit? Is that good for you as a coach to get those moments?
Oh, absolutely. You want to have a competitive game. I mean, you get the most out of being challenged. And in a lot of our games, at least for a quarter or 2 quarters this year, have been that, right? Where we had to respond. But last night was good. If you take something positive out of it, is we responded to some adversity again. We can't come out and play that way in the rest of our games, or we're going to lose football games, right? So I think that's something we learned. If you're able to learn that after getting a win, I guess that's a pretty good position to be in. But I think our kids all felt the same this morning. They were excited about the win, happy about the win, but no, we have to get better.
Coach, what have you learned in 5 weeks about your football team? You're undefeated. You've had some ups, some downs, some injuries in that. So what have you learned to this point?
Just we have a really, really tough group of kids, man. Each week we've had different kids step up and make plays, and a lot of those kids aren't necessarily in the stat box, right, and get a lot of the press. But everybody doing their 111th. And when someone goes down, other guys step up. So being ready for your opportunity. A lot of things I've already knew. I know I have a great coaching staff, and that's been more evident to me over the past couple of weeks because they just keep working their butts off and putting even more hours in. And we spend a lot of time here at this complex, and that's a lot of things that people don't see outside is how much time and effort the staff puts in. On Saturdays, we meet on Sunday nights, and we're texting and calling at midnight during the week, man, because we love what we do. But our kids are just a really, really good group of kids. They just want to win, right? So if you don't care about who gets the stats and who gets the touchdowns and all that stuff, you have a much greater chance of winning football games.
Yeah, and I mean, you're one of those guys that maybe doesn't get the recognition that you deserve up front. What does it mean to hear your coach say that you guys are a tough football team? Because that starts with you guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But it feels great because we're all doing our 111 and we're all going as hard as we can. And it just like opens up opportunities for everyone.
Oh, and offensive linemen may not get stats, right? Okay, occasionally a pancake block or whatever, if they keep those stats, right? But I've got to believe for you guys, when you're putting up 35 points, when your running back's going for $150, those are your stats as well, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
I mean, Coach, you got to look at it that way. If you're one of those, we used to call them the big uglies, the big guys up front, the guys in the trenches, right?
No, you're absolutely right. And we've had a lot of really good individual offensive performances in our 5 games, touchdown scored, passes thrown, things like that. And that's great. And I think the one area that we're missing, and I actually thought about this morning when I got up, I'm highly considering doing a drill this week at practice where when our skill guys score a touchdown, they immediately run and find our offensive linemen and celebrate with them. These guys up front don't get talked about a lot. They don't have stats, but you win and lose football games in the trenches, right? Offensive, defensive line. And that's why your toughest kids are playing those positions.
Coach, does that come from the fact that you were a skill position player and you knew how important it was to have great offensive linemen?
Yeah, I had a coach in college, I believe it was my sophomore year, really got through my stubborn head and made it clear to me that every time I get the ball and I get positive yards, man, I should be back to the huddle thanking my offensive lineman every single time. And I started doing that. And then ultimately all that happened was my offensive lineman just started working harder. So it was a win-win, man. And that's the game of football, right? You rely on each other and just getting kids to understand that if and when you can do that, you see some great things happening.
Coach, you mentioned 5-0. A lot of good things, come from 5-0. One of the good things is you can go to 6-0 next week, right? So, non-conference game though for you guys. How do you keep the team focused to stay on the same trajectory that you want them on?
Yeah, I just told them this morning at the end of our meeting. I said, coaches in our situation, I think do one of two things. They back off a little bit and think we're 5-0, we're rolling, or they do the opposite and they expect more and turn things up a little bit. And I told the kids, we're going to do the latter. Our expectations are going to be raised this week. I don't care if it's 95 degrees. You're going to get coached harder than you got coached last week. The expectations are going to be raised. I need you to watch more film because the goal is to go 1-0. We can talk about everything we've done up to this point, but all that we can control is what's in front of us. They can't look past Northwest and Coach DeMarco. If we do, we will lose the football game. They're a well-coached team. Their kids play hard. And I think we learned that lesson this week. So excited to see how our kids come out and have a great week of practice.
Kyle Owen, I want to get your thoughts on what he just said. He said that if it's 95, he's going to turn the heat up to 150. You like hearing that?
Yeah, no.
They're probably used to it though, right, Coach?
Yeah, they're just being honest, so that's all right.
That's good. You got to love that.
Absolutely.
Honesty is the best policy, no question about it. Hey, guys, congratulations. You're at the top of Ken's top 10 list right now. You're number one still, Coach. As long as you're undefeated, you're staying there. Keep up the great work. Congratulations, and we'll talk again soon, all right?
Appreciate you guys having us. Rock them.
Rock them. There they are. The Blue Streaks, number one in Ken's top 10 Stark County teams, man. Love the way they're playing. They've overcome adversity. They got punched in the mouth early in this game against Glen Oak in a Fed League game, responded by running off 28 consecutive points en route to a convincing 35-21 win for them. So let's see if they can keep it rolling.
Well, and I think that's becoming the story of the year, Kenny, right? Adversity. I mean, all across the county. Wow. It always seems like it is, but, Hoover last night, John Collins goes down, Jack Andes steps up, makes big plays. Ty DeGeorge went down at Lake. What do? They respond. They win games. Alex Quire throws 4 touchdowns last night. Yep. You look at Jackson. They had week one, a big effort. Carter Mulliman came in, made plays, threw touchdowns, got them the win. They deal with more adversity. They come back from it. They have a new kid playing running back who was a wide receiver converted into a running back. And he goes for, 200 yards, you said last night. So it's, hey, if you don't change and if you don't try to make adjustments as the year goes along, you're going to be left looking back at it and saying, what happened to this season? And every coach we talked to this morning, Kenny, they've used a word of dealing with some sort of adversity. Yeah. And the fact that all of these teams are beating it back is amazing and speaks to the testament of the coaching and these kids.
No doubt. Massillon last week, Manny Patterson didn't play their quarterback. He was out for a game. So they're all facing it and coming through with flying colors for the most part. Hey, John, time to take a look at our Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week. And I teed that up for you. You take it from here because this is something that you saw and you said this one needs to get some recognition.
Yeah, obviously here are some great donuts. I think next week we're going to have my dad do a donut delivery. He'll be coming in through this door that's right behind me. But it was this play in the second half, courtesy again of LouisvilleLeopards.org. Jack Andes turns the corner and turns on the afterburners on his way to 6. I chose the play not because maybe it was the sweetest play of the night, but because it was a testament of the night for Jack Andes. Without his play in the second half, Kenny, I really think that it's a situation where Hoover probably doesn't find a way to get to 5-0 on the year. And thanks to Jack Andes, they're off to a 5-0 start. He had 100 yards rushing last night. He didn't expect to have that going into the night. And here it is again. Turns the corner, makes Louisville's linebackers mix, and man, that speed in the open field, Kenny, that's devastating.
John, look at this. It looks like the defenders are going to have the angle on them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, those other guys don't even count because they're not in the same zip code. And you talk about turning on the afterburners and the Jets. Impressive last night there. And Marianne Donuts and the Saturday morning huddle. It's the perfect combination to get caught up on all things high school football in Stark County. Grab your favorite box of Marianne Donuts, a cup of coffee, or a hot chocolate, and then sit back and enjoy WHBC Saturday morning huddle to see how your team did on Friday night. Marianne Donuts, high school football, and WHBC classic Canton traditions. And this tradition is the Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week. Jack Andes flying down the sideline for a touchdown in a big Hoover win last night.
Yeah, Kenny, I want to actually start this over. After we look at these delicious donuts, which they look great, look at number 13, Michael Lamlin, to the left of the quarterback here. Look at this block that he lays, right?
Oh,
boom.
Yeah. Gotta love that, right? When you got the little guys, and when I say the little guys, skill position guys, throwing some blocks. So he's out in front and then jacks that dude up, knocks him back about 5 yards, and that allows Andes to turn the corner and take it to the house and help Hoover get a big victory over their rival, Louisville. The final in that one was 31-13. So that was our Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week. Let's once again, if you're just joining us here on the Saturday morning huddle, we'll give you our Community One, Community One Credit Union Player of the Week, and it is Xavier Owens for the Massillon Tigers. Xavier Owens with a huge game last night, 33 carries, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns against the number 1 team in the state, St. Ed's, as Massillon pulls off the upset, if you want to call it that. Based on the rankings it was, but to Massillon it wasn't an upset. And St. Ed's, no problem. That's 4 years in a row now that they beat St. Ed's. 21-14 was the final. And congratulations to Xavier Owens. And I had a chance, John, to catch up with Xavier after the big win last night on WHBC Radio. Let's start with your offensive line. You get the stats, you get the numbers, right? But talk about the guys up front and the blocking tonight that you received and how easy it made your job.
It was amazing. It was easy. I wasn't really getting touched to the second level. I just knew that I was going to get through the line and just fall behind them. They're very well conditioned, and I just knew they had it in them.
Did you know coming into this game that you probably were going to be featured and you're going to touch the ball between 30 and 40 times?
Yeah, that was game plan. We were going to run the rock down their throat, and that's what we did. We had the best O-line in the state. That's what I think.
When we watched this game tonight, the drive right before halftime where you guys go 93 yards, you're backed up to your own 7-yard line, and yet you take it the distance, get the touchdown, and steal the momentum in this game. How crucial was that in this, and how were you guys able to do that?
Very crucial, and it was a big thing. We were able to do that because we do it in practice multiple times. Like, we practice from Sunday to Friday. It's every day we have practice, and we practice that so many times. It's unbelievable. So we knew we had that.
For you, whether it's at running back or at quarterback in the Wildcat, give us a little idea of the difference of what you see back there depending on where you're lined up.
At running back, I just know I stay tight, and I'm gonna break a big one soon. But just keep getting inch yards. But at quarterback, at any moment I could break one because there's extra blockers up in front of me. It's a lot of space.
What's this mean to this team this year? You were 2-2 coming in. You played a tough schedule, but you just beat the number 1 ranked team in the state of Ohio. What's this mean to you and your teammates at Massillon?
It means we're finally back to doing Massillon things. We're regular Massillon stuff. And that's really it.
Congratulations on the win. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Xavier Owens. He's the one this week, John. No doubt about it. When you're playing the number 1 team in the entire state and the coach tells you before that game, hey, plan on getting the ball either at quarterback, at running back, or catching it out of the backfield 35 to 40 times against the best team in the state. Are you up for that? And Xavier said, absolutely. And he touched it 35 as my last count for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in that win by Massillon over St. Ed's.
Yeah, it's an impressive effort, and obviously the Tigers needed that win, something that we haven't really started talking about yet, and I think it's fair that we haven't, but we're going to now that we've reached the halfway point is the playoffs. And, you enter last night, Kenny, and Massillon was 14th in Division II, Region 7. That was unofficially by Joe Itel last night. I don't know what they jumped to today, but I'm sure that they're higher in those ratings. I'm going to look real quick right now just to give folks an idea. As of right now, the Tigers 9th now. Number 1 is Canal Winchester. Hoover is 3rd now in that region, but still, they went from being on the outside of the playoff chase with 12 teams getting in to being back into the playoff race. And look, I'm sure Nate Moore, we talk about it all the time, Kenny. I don't think he really cares how you get there. He just says, let's get there and let's be playing our best football when we get there. And, last night was a testament to them getting better, because I think week 1, I don't know if they win that game. And now, week 5, they look primed. And I love what Xavier said. He said, we got back to doing Massillon Tiger things. And that's running the ball down people's throats and being more physical. And that's what they were last night.
They won the game in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. That's where that game was won. Again, for people just tuning in, Massillon was behind 7-0 because of the first play from scrimmage right here. Look at this. This is the first play from scrimmage in this game, and that's Brandon White, 66 yards basically untouched, and everybody at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium is like, what just happened? And you're thinking, hey, St. Ed's, they've lost 3 in a row. They want to flex their muscles and, get a victory. But then Massillon does what Massillon does. And they take it right down the field. This is the first of 2 touchdown runs for Xavier Owens. That one, a 5-yard touchdown run to even the score at 7-7. And that's when Massillon started to get their mojo back and feeling good about themselves. And then this is Owens again to the far side, down the sidelines, and he turns on, the afterburners. Nobody going to get him. It's 14-7 Massillon, and we're thinking, wow, okay, they've come to play as well. And then right before the half, a 10-play, 93-yard drive, and they get a touchdown on this pass from Manny Patterson, and it goes for 7 right before the half. That kind of really, in my opinion, was the game winner, even though they had a whole half to play, John Bozeka. But to drive the ball the length of the field like that and to take that momentum into the locker room, it did carry over into the second half, and they win 21-14 over St. Ed's last night.
Yeah, it's a very impressive win, and, it sets up the table for them to really, as I said, make a charge at finding a good playoff spot. And with Warren and McKinley being their 2 remaining in-state opponents, obviously those will be tough. Those will be difficult for them, but Nate and the Tigers will be ready. Hey, Kenny, before we wrap things up and look at things, I want to give thanks to 2 of our sponsors here at the end, in addition to all of ours. But I want to tell people about Ty Colucci and DeHoff Realtors. If you want to call them, you can call Ty at 330-316-3570. He's always there to take your calls, whether you're buying or selling a home. Wants to help people just like you and me, so that next time that you look for a home, you feel comfortable in your home buying or selling experience. Other than that, also Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration LLC. Big thanks to Brandon Carl and the folks there, getting their hands dirty for a brighter future. And they are just 2 of our 5 great sponsors that we have to thank here. Also, Akron Auto Auction, Kenny. Big thanks go out to Chad Bailey and the folks there.
Yeah, he was on the Kenny and JT show with me yesterday, talking high school, college, pro football, gives back to the community. If you're looking, to maybe purchase a car and have never done it via an auction, check them out at akronautauction.com. And, of course, Marianne Donuts, our sweet play of the week. We love having Marianne Donuts back with us for another year of high school football here on the Huddle. And Community One Credit Union, our player of the week each and every week. Proud to have them on board, and Xavier Owens from Massillon won that award this week. So thanks once again to Community One Credit Union, and Xavier was the one this week for Massillon. And John, that game was so big last night. We mentioned it with Nate Moore. We had a special guest scouting that game last night from the Ohio State University. They're off on a bye week this week. So none other than the former linebacker at Ohio State, and now he is their linebackers coach. James Laurinaitis was there at the game last night, checking out all that great talent that was on the field at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. So he was there with his daughter. She had a little cheerleader outfit on, and she was on the sidelines with Dad. So it was a fun sight to see, and I got to catch up with James, as well as I caught up with Matt Wilhelm. His son Mason is an offensive lineman for St. Ed's. So a couple of former Buckeyes were in the house last night at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. So thanks to those guys for allowing me to catch up with them and talk a little Ohio State football. And they're loving what they're seeing from the Buckeyes so far as the number 1 ranked team in the country.
They should be. Been playing really good football so far. That win over OU last weekend was pretty hard fought. It's always cool. Massillon, always similar to Massillon is like the Madison Square Garden of high school football. It's like you never know who you're going to see on the sideline or who's going to show up to a game. It really draws out the celebrities on the football scene.
Yeah, one other thing, you mentioned one of our sponsors, Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration. Cam Carl in a losing effort last night. Fairless loses to Orville 48-35. Cam Carl, 9 more catches, 81 yards, and another touchdown from Mikey Ritterbeck. Unfortunately, it comes in a loss, but he continues to put up big numbers for the Falcons.
Yeah, it's a tough year. The Pac-7 this year is especially strong. It's interesting. I was talking to George, my dad, who does the games with me, and he was saying, wow, Canton South is having somewhat of a down year. And I said, I don't know if they're having a down year, Dad. I think they're just playing really high-level competition. Northwest is really good. Manchester is really good. Tuslaw lost last night to Triway by just a touchdown. So It's going to be tight competition all the way through. Guys, this is when the fun starts for us. We're into conference play for everyone now, with the exception of Massillon and Louisville, who are independent, Central, St. Tom, those teams. But we're into conference play for all of these teams. And this is when it's really going to start to get fun. Last night, Hoover gets that big win. Well, if you're curious, Hoover's road from here really gets a lot tougher. They have Glen Oak, of course, coming this week, but then they close with McKinley, Perry, Lake, Jackson, and every Federal League team at this point, with the exception of a couple, are like that. The Pac-7 is the same way, and the EBC the same way as well, Kenny. This is, as I said, this is where we really start to enjoy what we do, because we know every Friday night it's going to be a rivalry game, and there's going to be a lot on the line for the playoffs and conference play as well.
And not only is it how good is your team now, how much better can they get, right, moving forward? And, John, as we're finding out in this season, unfortunately, how healthy can you stay the rest of the regular season going into the postseason, as key players have been dropping all over the place in Stark County this year?
You hope that health doesn't end up becoming much more of a story than it already is, but it seems as though to this point, just like every year, there's always a couple teams that battle it. This year, it's more than a couple teams. It was nice to hear great news this morning that John Collins only a high ankle sprain. That was the best news to wake up to this morning for us here on the Huddle after seeing him go down last night. My heart sank after talking to Coach Baum about that last night, and I am just so happy that I don't have a curse over my head regarding that. But thank goodness that John is going to be okay. And, we hope Ty DeGeorge is able to come back if they make a postseason run. Any kids that are hurt, we never, as much as it's a big factor of the game when the kid gets hurt, you can ask any coach anywhere. They want to play their opponent healthy, and the coach of that team wants their team to be healthy too. You want all of the kids' health to be the main priority when it comes to high school football, because you never know. This might be the last chance that these kids get to actually play a game that they truly love.
Yeah, and good luck today to Marlington. They've got Warren JFK at 1:00 today, so hopefully the Dukes can get a victory. And I think a good way to wrap things up and get out of here after a week 5 of high school football.
It is. It's an enjoyable week 5. No Buckeyes today, so nothing to look for there. Of course, the Browns tomorrow. A reminder that if you would like to indulge yourself in listening to them, you can do so on 1480 WHBC.
So at your own risk, okay? That's what I will tell you. I'll see everybody at jerseys on Fulton with the Stark County Browns backers, but do so at your own risk.
You do. Big thing, though, all you fans out there, even though we only talk football here, I'm going to bring it up once. Root on those Guardians. They are the hottest team in baseball right now. Root those boys on. Hopefully next week when Kenny and I talk to you, because it'll be a week from today, we'll be talking about a playoff clinched Guardians. There's work to do, but it could happen.
They're like cockroaches. You just can't kill them, man. They keep, showing up the next day, and they're still in this thing. 2.5 out from the Tigers, 1.5 out in the wild card. So JT and I will be doing our show, the Kenny and JT show, Wednesday from Progressive Field from 3 to 6 o'clock this Wednesday.
Can't wait for that. That should be fun. Kenny, we're going to break the huddle. I enjoyed it. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good, John.